Okay, let's review for your quiz on Tuesday. Parallel and perpendicular lines and the application of the equation of a line in y-intercept form. Talking about slope and y-intercept. Okay, first question we're going to talk about is find an equation of a line through the point 4, 4 that's parallel to y equals 2x minus 5. So remember, we're going to take line 1, which is this one, y equals 2x minus 5, and we're going to solve for y, which this one's already solved for y, so all I need to find is the slope. My slope of this line is 2, so the parallel slope is also going to be 2. Remember, lines that are parallel have the same slope. So line 2, we're going to use our parallel slope, which is 2, and then we're going to use our point for x1 and y1. So my point is 4, 4, and my parallel slope is 2. So I have y minus 4 equals 2 times x minus 4. Solve for y. So I have y minus 4 equals, distribute your 2, 2x minus 8, add 4, and I have y equals 2x minus 4. So my parallel line is y equals 2x minus 4. And the reason they're parallel is because the slopes are the same. Find equation of a line through 4, 4 that's perpendicular to the same line. So we still have the same line. So line 1 is still y equals 2x minus 5. Okay, so the slope for this one is still 2, but now the perpendicular slope is not going to be 2 because it's the opposite and reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2, and the opposite is negative 1/2. So when we do line 2, we have to remember that our slope is now going to be negative 1/2, and our point is still 4, 4. So I have y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 x minus 4. Distribute your negative 1/2, so I have y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 x plus 2, half of 4, and a negative times a negative. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 4 to both sides. So I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 6. Now, when you're taking the test, you can use decimals to check your answer, but you're not required to. So that's the perpendicular line. The reason they're perpendicular is because the slopes are opposite reciprocals. This one's 2 and this one's negative 1/2. All right, the first line goes through negative 4, 4, and the second line goes through 5, 10. Or I'm sorry, first line goes through negative 4, 4, and 5, 10. The second line goes through 5, negative 7, and 14, 7. Decide if these two lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Well, how do we know if lines are parallel? Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So we need to find the slope of these two lines. You can find the entire equation, but you don't have to. We can just go ahead and just find the slope. So let's talk about line 1. So here's my line 1. I need to find the slope. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. So we have 10 minus negative 4, or 10 plus 4. And then I have 5 minus negative 4, or 5 plus 4. Because we subtracted negative, we're adding. So this is 14 over 9, and it does not reduce. So that's the slope of line 1. I could plug it in and find my equation, but I don't have to, because if the lines are parallel, they're going to have the same slope. If the lines are perpendicular, they're going to have opposite reciprocal slopes. So let's just find the slope of the next one. So if this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, this is line 2, I have my slope, 7 minus negative 7, or 7 plus 7, and then 14 minus 5 gives me 14 over 9. So what does this tell me? I have 14 over 9 and 14 over 9. They have the same slope, so the lines are parallel. Decide whether the pair of lines is parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So here we have our two lines. How do we know what the slope is? Because that's how we tell if lines are parallel or perpendicular. If the slope's the same and the y-intercept's different, they're parallel. If the slope's opposite reciprocals, that means it's perpendicular. So let's go ahead and solve these for y. So let's get line 1 here. So line 1, 2x plus 5y equals 9. And then I'm going to subtract 2x to put it in slope-intercept form. So I have 5y equals negative 2x plus 9, and divide by 5. So y equals, distribute your 5, so negative 2/5 x plus 9/5. So we know right now that the slope here is negative 2/5. Now we have to find the slope of line 2. So here's my line 2. And we're going to go ahead and solve it for y. So I have 5x plus 2y equals 4. Subtract 5x. So I have 2y equals negative 5x plus 4. Divide by 2. And then distribute. So I have y equals negative 5/2 x minus 2. I'm sorry, plus 2. Positive, divide by positive, and positive. So we have reciprocals, but do we have opposites? We have reciprocals, but do we have opposites? No, they're both negative. So this is neither. They're not parallel or perpendicular. This is neither. So they're just going to be two separate lines, and you can graph them to see them. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line satisfying the following conditions. So I want it to go through 3, 5, that's perpendicular to x equals 5. Now here's one of those special situations. If you remember when we talked about this, when you have positive slope, negative slope, zero slope, undefined slope, okay, if you have zero slope, your equation is going to look like, for example, y equals 4, okay, y equals negative 2, okay, y equals 0, whatever. That's going to be the equation of a line that's horizontal. Undefined slope is x equals 4, x equals negative 2, whatever you want it to be here. So what kind of line is x equals 5? It's a vertical line where x is 5. So I go over 5, and that's x equals 5. So what line goes through the point 3, 5? So if I go over 3, up 5, that is perpendicular to that line? Well, it's got to be this line right here. But what is the equation of that line? Well, since it's a zero slope line, it's got to be a y equals a number. Well, what does y equal at that point? 5. So I'm just going to get y equals 5. Find the equation of a line that is parallel to x equals 4 that goes through the point negative 6, 7. Now this is the same situation that we just had because we have an x equals 4 line. So I'm not going to go through that again. Let's just talk about it. X equals 4 is going to be over 4, and it's a vertical line at x equals 4. Okay, but now I want a parallel line that goes through the point negative 6, positive 7. So that's going to be over here somewhere. And to be parallel, it also has to be a vertical line, like this. What is the equation of that vertical line? Well, you know that it has to be x equals because it's a vertical line. What does x equal? X equals negative 6. Which line is parallel to the line 2x minus 3y equals 10? So, parallel lines have the same slope. Well, before we go ahead and finish this, we need to figure out, okay, well, what is the slope of line 1, and then go through and figure out the slopes of every single other one. So I have to take my line 1 and solve for y. So I have 2x minus 3y equals 10. Subtract 2x. So I have negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 10. Divide by negative 3. So I have y equals 2/3 x minus 10/3. Okay, so the thing that matters here is we're looking for parallel, so they have to have the same slope. So which one of these has positive 2/3 slope? Well, we have to go ahead and we have to solve each one of these for y and find the slope. Well, number 1 already is, or number A already is, and this is negative or positive 1/2. Does that have the same slope? No, so that one's out. So let's find this one. What's the slope of B? So we have B here, so I have 3x plus 2y equals 10 minus 3x. So I have 2y equals negative 3x plus 10. Divide by 2. Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 5. Are those the same slope? No, so it cannot be that one. Okay, because we have negative 3 over 2, can't be that one. So look at this one. Well, here it looks like it's the same slope, but the problem is it's not in slope-intercept form, so be careful. You have to solve for y first before you can decide if it's the same slope. So we have 5x plus 2/3 y equals 6. So I'm going to get rid of the fraction so I don't have to deal with it. I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 3, which is 15x plus 2y equals 18. And now solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 15x. So I have 2y equals negative 15x. Forgot to distribute that. Plus 18, and then divide by 2. So I have y equals negative 15 over 2 x plus 9. So is that the same slope? Negative 15 over 2? No, so it can't be that one. So we got one more left. Let's see what we got. So negative 9y equals negative 6x plus 9. Divide by negative 9. Yeah. And then distribute. So I have y equals negative 6 over negative 9, which is positive. But that also, I'll just write that down so you can see. And then minus 1. That also reduces. So we have a positive, divide by 3, 2/3 x minus 1. So now that we have this, let's look at the slopes. Are the slopes the same? Yes, so D is the parallel line. Now we're going to go ahead and keep this up because the next question is the same, except now we have to decide which one's perpendicular. So what does perpendicular mean? Perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slopes. That means I have to figure out, and that since everything's the same, I can use my work from before and decide, okay, my slope for line 1 was positive 2 over 3. The slope for this one was 1/2. Okay, so we saw that. That's not going to work. The slope for this one we solved is green over here, is negative 3 over 2. Is that an opposite reciprocal? Yeah. So for this one, the perpendicular is B. Finally, let's go ahead and solve an application problem now that we've done all our parallel perpendicular examples. Kylie was asked to share how many hours she studied for a test and what her score was. On her first test, Kylie scored 1 hour and achieved an 80%. On her next test, Kylie studied 3 hours and achieved a score of 99%. So the first thing I need to do is figure out what is my independent and what is my dependent variable. Okay, my independent variable is going to be my time, so hours. My dependent variable is going to be my percent. So what are my 2 points? I have 180 and 399. So if I go ahead and find the slope of that, I have 99 minus 80 over 3 minus 1, which gives me 19 over 2, and that's my slope. So then I'm going to plug that into my equation, y minus y1, which is going to be, I'll use the first one, 80 equals 19 over 2, x minus 1. Solve for y. So y minus 80 equals 19 over 2, x minus 19 over 2. So I have to add 80. Now I know how to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, but if you don't know how, you can use a calculator. So 19 over 2x, and I'm going to change this to a mixed number, so this would be negative 9 and a half. So I'm going to take 80 minus 9 and a half, which is going to give me 70 and a half. And this is 19 over 2. Okay, so now, part B says, interpret the slope. Well, 19 over 2, remember, it's always y over x, okay, which is my independent over my dependent. I'm sorry, my dependent over my independent, which is percent over hours. And in this case, it's going to be 19% increase for every 2 hours. Studied. Okay, interpret the y-intercept. Okay, oh, that should be positive. Sorry about that. That should be positive. This one should be negative. 80 plus minus 9.5 is 70.5. Okay, anyway, 70.5. Okay, that's the score she'll get if x is 0. Well, what does x stand for? Hours. So she will get a 70.5 if she does not study. Or she has 0 hours of study if she does not study.